when I gave my first GMAT official mock, I had scored a 550, and that was the day I kind of realized, okay, maybe I need to take a step back, and something is terribly wrong now. The one thing I was literally struggling post 3 months into prep was data insights,
Right.
which also came at a surprise to me because I was like, it's quite a basic subject. There's nothing like you can prepare about it. Why I'm getting it wrong? So every time I used to see I'm getting those two right and one wrong. Particularly, I'll be very honest, verbal is something I improved because of top 1%, because I was missing out on that structure. So without that, I would not have scored that as well. So
Thank you so much for joining me today. Big congratulations, 100 percentile score. Yeah, this is like awesome.
thank
735 on your GMAT, and it has been a slight some time since you got this score. We've celebrated a big time, but here you are to
yeah.
just talk about your GMAT journey. What a wonderful, the lineup of the score. Here's what we can see: quantitative 95th percentile, verbal 99 percentile. Brilliant. This is data inside 96 percentile. So tell me, how do you feel about this score? Yeah. How, 100 percentile, how are you feeling?
Like it's been an amazing feeling, to be very honest. So like I didn't ever thought that I'll crack that score, to be very honest. In fact, I have never scored that number even in my mocks, so it was quite an thrilling experience. In fact, when I just ended up seeing that marks on the screen, I was for a moment shocked that how could I make that score. Yeah, so overall has been a great one.
Amazing. So I would like to just go about you. I mean, I would want you to speak about your background a bit. Very interesting profile. You are a chartered accountant. You cleared all the CFA level. So take us through how did that happen, and then I come across a lot of students who are chartered accountant, and they have this doubt whether MBA is for me or not. And this is even while they are clearing their CFA levels, right? You've already are accomplished CA and now an
Yeah.
MBA. How did that kind of plan out for you?
Sure. So basically, from a family background only, I have a lot of chartered accountants in my family. So that is the first thing that comes up whenever somebody takes a commerce in my family. So I pursued chartered accountancy, basically taking on that journey further. During that my CA journey, I felt that I used to audit a lot of mutual funds actually during my internship days. So that kind of excited me into equities and public markets and all that. And I used to kind of envy those fund managers, so I thought, let me try and gain some understanding into CFA. And I used to stay in one of the hostels in Mumbai. That kind of further inspired me in that journey because a lot of people used to be doing additional courses, and I thought maybe CFA is something I should take a crack at. So I pursued CFA post that. While I was doing my CA and CFA, I used to see a lot of people doing industrial training.
Huh.
So they used to do it from JP Morgan. So that used to be like a crazy experience. We used to see people doing IB and all that. So I thought I also want to get into this field. Everybody wants to get there. So I used to always think about that. So luckily, maybe it's about manifesting only. Post my CA, I got into JP Morgan.
Right, I saw that.
So I ended up with JP Morgan in investment banking, which I always wanted to get into. I spent like good 2.5 year, more than that rather, with JP Morgan. I was working with the London team there, and I used to see a lot of MBAs out there who were basically like upskilling themselves and were getting the right set of portfolio of job. I'll say that.
Correct.
So I thought that MBA is something that I'm missing maybe, and as a natural succession, you'll also appreciate that when you want to get into a private equity role, to say so, you need an MBA because the consultants who are on the hiring hunch, they kind of don't appreciate if you're not an MBA. I don't know why, but
Right.
yeah, that was the reason. So I wanted to get into private equity and didn't want that kind of a glass ceiling, to be very honest, to hurt my career. So that led me to an MBA, and yeah, that's been so
What
far.
a fantastic line of thought. I mean, this is definitely going to be very inspiring to a lot of students because sometimes, right, we can only suggest that this could be your line of possibly this could be the line in which you can go. But here you are already manifesting and then even getting through it.
Yeah.
Really, I hope the next bit is to be able to get an admit and then get the best of the admits.
So,
And I hope the choices that you have, you should be spoiled for it. Like the M7 schools. And so let's go through and deep dive into the GMAT preparation. Tell me initially when you started, what were your challenging areas and how did you overcome? I'm guessing quant would have been your strength, but how was it otherwise?
so yeah, so bit of a background there. So I was pursuing CAT prior to this. So MBA was my main agenda actually. So I took a crack at CAT. So of course my quants kind of went miles ahead when it came to CAT. So when I basically hopped onto GMAT, so I found that CAT was from CAT the quants were quite doable from for me. The one thing I was literally struggling post 3 months into prep was data insights,
Right.
which also came at a surprise to me because I was like, it's quite a basic subject. There's nothing like you can prepare about it. Why I'm getting it wrong? So every time I used to see I'm getting those two right and one wrong.
All right.
It's every other time. So data insights is one thing I was struggling with, and verbal, of course, uh, was one thing I had to work upon. I'll not say it was kind of a weakness for me, but of course, it needed a lot of work.
You're right, right. So, what specific material in through your 3 months of your preparation could kind of just stood out? Could you take through each of the section and tell us
Uh,
what did you actually prepare? So there is a set of study plan that is given to you. You know, there are the content that is given to you. When should you be doing the app, videos, material, and finally the portal. But how did you go about it?
so when it came to the prep, I'm kind of a more of a I think I am quite disciplined when it comes to the prep. So I kind of religiously followed the program which was offered by top 1% there. So I went through all the materials that you had shared, the pre, post, and every material which you shared. But I kind of rushed through it, I'll say. But yeah, that went great. Post that, I think the materials I majorly referred to were the top 1% only. I didn't go a lot of beyond those materials to say so.
So the strategy that you employed for the verbal section, you said when you initially started because you had the experience of giving CAT or preparing for the exam, quant was naturally good, DI a little bit. How was the position of verbal and how did you kind of get overcome that?
Yeah, so initially I had a feeling that I'll do reasonably well in verbal, but you guys have that trial, right? So that day I kind of got a jolt. So maybe, okay, I need to work upon it again and kind of brush up my skills. So initially, even post my 3 months of the tutorials and all that, when I gave my first GMAT official mock, I had scored a 550, and that was the day I kind of realized, okay, maybe I need to take a step back and something is terribly wrong now. So that day onwards, I kind of rebooted myself when it came to the verbal, and I kind of followed what Sandeep had given me. Quite honestly, in verbal, it has been fantastic that way. So I had followed that pattern. I went back to that habit of building it into my way of working out. For the last 3 months, I had been doing it the way I had always been tuned to do it. But I realized that that is a gap I maybe need to fill in, and kind of helped me. I'll say so.
So how long has it been from the first test that you gave, 585 that you said in the official GMAT to a
550,
735?
550.
550,
Yeah.
555.
Yeah, something in, I don't recall exactly, but yeah, something around 550, I remember.
So when did that, how long was the transition to finally getting a 735?
I started around April, but because of the limitations of my job, the kind of working hours I am exposed to, it this whole journey must have taken 6 months since I started in April around. So I must have got that score around, I'll say August, September.
Okay.
So that's quite an interesting story. So I was like, when I got that 555 odd marks, I was like, okay, this some because all my friends said that you'll easily score a 700 on the first official mock. It's quite easy. And when I got that score, I took a step back and I was like, okay, there's something extremely wrong with what I'm doing with my prep. And yeah, from then on, I kind of uh, engage with friends as well as a few of your mentors as well, and kind of worked on that score to understand where the gaps are and kind of fill those gaps over the next 3 months, maybe.
So it took about 3 more months to get the
Yeah,
555 to
yeah,
7.
I'll
All
say
right.
so. September. In fact, I had appeared. This is my second attempt to say so. So I had appeared just 15 days previous to this,
Right.
and I had a 655 in that.
655 and then a
Yeah.
735. Great.
Okay. And then it went to 735.
Right, amazing. So I also want to just probably highlight on this because again, a lot of students are like, but I've gone through these question set again. How can I go through it again? One more time.
Yeah.
I remember all the answers, but you just mentioned you've gone through each of these question set 3 times at least. So,
Yeah.
how did you go over it? Did you have the feeling that, oh, well, I know all the answers, but how did you actually go about going through it three
Yeah.
times?
Yeah. So when it came to data insight, what I understood was that there is no pattern or a methodology to study it, right? It's more of a practice game that you need to just kind of practice. That is the only thing you can do about it, because
Right.
you don't know what questions will be coming that day. So my simple ideology was that I'll practice as much as possible. There might be a question or odd question that I might recall from my memory, but end of the day you still have 13 more questions to address. So for me that was it. And second thing was, I was feeling that maybe I'm just lacking on the concentration part of it, because there were three parts to every question, right? So I was getting two right every time. I was missing out on the third question. So I thought that maybe just practicing it and kind of imbibing that concentration part of it will help me. So I kind of practiced it again and again so that I'm right there when I'm appearing for the exam. So
Perfect.
that is what I felt. And like coming to repetitiveness of that, I'll say even the 800 questions of quants I've done two times. Because what happened was, I mentioned first time when I got a 555, I had a word with Ayush, I guess, from top 1%. And he told me that he was quite frank about it, and I kind of appreciate that as well. He told me you kind of rushed up through the material. He asked me, have you done this? Have you done this? And I was like, yes, I have done everything. How didn't I score that marks in that 555? So he's like, you kind of rushed up through the material, you need to go back.
Right.
So I even attempted the 800 level questions again
Right.
for the quants. And because the volume of the questions is so much, I don't think one can even recall all the questions. You might have a few questions here and there you might be able to recall, but end of the day, it's more about building that out, I guess.
Very important point you touch base that, you can't rush through the material. When you are
Yeah,
doing it, you do it with ease, because then you can rush through probably the last stages, but not during the initial
true,
stages,
true.
because then that will really
True.
cost you another attempt,
Yeah, it did. It
probably.
did. Honestly, in my case, this is one of the major learnings that I took from this exam. That I kind of initially I was like, I'll wind it up in 3, 4 months, and it kind of paid. It kind of hurt me, and it took me 6 months. So
Right.
that is one major learning, that you can't rush up.
So tell me about this. This is all the material and study and strategy, which was all structured. How did you go about it when you also had a very demanding job? What was your personal routine type towards the GMAT? When did you exactly study every single day? How did you go about the mock test? How long did you take? Did you have
So
a break also at all?
not really, not really. So that way, I had a very standard layout plan that I'll be studying every day,
Right.
be it for 1 hour, but I'll be studying every day. So I did ensure that I might have a couple of odd breaks, like a day or two in between, but I tried to ensure that I'm studying every day.
Mhm.
And for the mocks as well, I had planned that because the job didn't allow, so I used to take the mocks on weekends. So, and I, in fact, at the end of the during the end of the journey, when I was about to appear for the official, I tried to ensure that I'm giving even the mocks during the same time frame,
Yeah,
because my time frame of exam was around 2 p.m. and that's when I think the mind loses off the most. So last three
absolutely.
mocks, I tried to ensure that I'm appearing right in that set. So
Right.
I think, yeah, I ensured that I was studying every day rather.
Right. No, so in terms of your doubts and questions, another thing before I speak about it,
Yeah.
because you mentioned that your friends were there, and of course there were faculty as well. How did they come in picture in terms of supporting? We're still talking about support through your preparation.
True. So
Friends,
like
family.
overall, yeah, absolutely. Like friends and family plus the faculty has been like the backbone. I'll put it this way through the journey, because getting a 555 in my first official mock to the journey, of course, has been a big leap that way. So I kind of reached out to top 1% faculty when I felt that I am missing out something, or maybe at times I also got frustrated. I'll be very honest that why I'm not able to like improve my score. I'm doing every bit of it. So that time, kind of the faculty helped me a lot with identifying, see, just practice this. Don't take big targets, at least just practice this part of it, and then maybe we connect later on and then kind of take this journey ahead. And family and friends, and of course, have been always been the biggest supporter, because a couple of my friends were also pursuing GMAT actually.
Right. That helps.
So they kind of helped me identify like how do you evaluate this when you get that ESR report for the official GMAT mocks as well. So they kind of helped me evaluate like how do you even look at that report. So I was not aware like okay, you need to look at from that perspective and then build on it.
Right.
So yeah, that way it has been super helpful.
Amazing. So you said you've exploited the entire portal as well. How did it really help
Yeah.
you overall when you before the exam day or the first attempt and the second attempt? How did the portal
Yeah.
kind of really help you? Did you have any? So given you are attempting an exam, did you see any difference or no difference at all in terms of the UI, UX feel, touch and feel of the exam?
No, so on the UX part, I'll say it's more or less similar only.
Right.
Uh, the good part of the portal, which I really like, was like the volume of questions which are available, right? So, and the I'll say the difficulty level about those questions. So initially, I used to also feel like kind of these are too tough questions. These won't be addressed in the exam. I am trying to basically address these questions, but lately I realized maybe this is just building out that concentration which I'm lacking onto. So I must have appeared for like 3, 4 mocks, official mocks, not the official, the top 1% mocks. And apart from that, I use those long sittings, the verbal and the RC long sittings, and all the practice questions which are there, like the sectionals and the topic wise tests. So I'll say from the UX perspective and from the comprehensiveness of the coverage, it's absolutely great. Yeah, but I did find that difficulty a bit notch up from the exam perspective.
You're right. We'll just take a minute. I think the internet is good from your end. Can you just check once?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah, I can
it's
hear you
better.
loud and clear.
Yeah. No, because it was just going red and yellow. So I just wanted
Oh,
to
sorry.
announce a bit. All right. So here's the bit. So on the final day, I mean, this is like two times it's happened. But tell me the first
Yeah.
time that you attempted when you got the 665 score, what didn't work for you in your favor? And what did you do drastically, a difference in 16 days that you kind of had a jump from a 665, which is about, 80-ish percentile in 80s to, or yeah, a little bit above 90, maybe close to 90 percentile to a 100
Yeah, yeah.
percentile score.
So what changed between those 2 days was like there's a backdrop to it since I mentioned that I was preparing for CAT previously and had even appeared for IIM Ahmedabad's interview last year.
Right, right.
So that kind of didn't work out. So I was kind of carrying that burden also that I was not able to make it finally. So in the first attempt, I thought that I had bit of those nerves as well when I was appearing for the exam. And quants, which used to be my best section in GMAT, I kind of tanked it. I had scored, I guess, 64 percentile.
Oh
In that
no.
exam, also my verbal was 99 percentile.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it was just quants which took the nerves in the first section, and post second and third section I did fairly well and kind of tried to manage it out on that day as well. But what changed between the first and second was I didn't prepare for 7 or 8 odd days post getting that score.
Just let it
And the second thing,
relax. Relax your
yeah,
nerves.
yeah, I just left. Actually, I appeared right before Diwali.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I have a decent score that if I want to get into ISB, maybe I have a good chance. I'll make it that way, or maybe I'll appear again. But I knew I had a safe score. Okay, now I can just improve from it. There's no going back from here at least. So that kind of maybe boosted my confidence. I'm quite relaxed, I'll say. Honestly, I didn't even prepare for the last 16 days. I just appeared for one official mock. That was it. I didn't, and in that I had scored around 725, and I just carried that confidence on that day.
Absolutely.
That was just the prep I did between that 16 days.
One of
Nothing
the
else.
one of the biggest learning lesson is you need to really relax through.
True,
Second
true, true,
second learning lesson about this is that don't
true.
rush in first, is of course, and relax just before the exam. You
Yeah,
need that. That's what Sandeep says. Say have a good night's sleep. Make sure that your body is really
yeah,
really relaxed. Don't think it as another exam. Think it as another mock. If you've been practicing another mock, so I think all of these kind of really look at that. I mean, otherwise it
absolutely.
would have saved one attempt at least. But a fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
the dream of an IIM Ahmedabad to now, I think, I'm sure you're looking at not just Indian schools, but outside India as well. So, what are your target schools now?
So I'm looking at the M7s for now. So the deadline is fast approaching. So I'm a bit conscious of that as well, like whether I should go for this round or maybe round one of next year. So yeah, that is one thing. And I'm looking at the M7s, of course, and private equity because I want to basically build out a career out here. So those Wharton, Columbia, Booth is something I really aspire to get into, but fingers crossed.
All East Coast. So you're
Yeah.
looking at the US. Any ch chance that you're also applying to London because London
So,
is close,
as I mentioned, I initially I didn't have international aspirations, to be very honest with you.
right?
I was quite okay. I just wanted my career in private equity to be there. I didn't want that glass ceiling to be there, so I didn't explore a lot. So that is why, from that angle, I'm kind of exploring round one next year. Rather, I'm not very choosy about getting into this year itself, and I don't mind going next year as well. So
No,
from that
but
angle,
it's
I'll explore
easier that you
next year.
do apply because you don't get to lose on anything and you don't want to
Yeah,
get in. Obviously, next year you can say, well, my situation was very different. I had a lot of work to complete here. And so I
true.
didn't choose the admit. But at least you have an admit and a little, a little
I
bit of
understand.
extra weightage there.
I
But
agree.
glad, I mean, all this happened. So good to speak to you. An amazing, journey, I would say. Really loved it. And one of the things I think two, three students I spoke to earlier this morning, they were just speaking about should I be, reattempting any questions? I'm not very thorough. Everything has been completely said by someone who scored. Definitely so useful. All the tips that you've shared, all your experiences would definitely help a lot of other students. And here's wishing you
Sure.
all the very best. I hope you, like I said, all M7 or at least all the schools that is there in the East Coast,
Yeah.
especially around the finance bit, you should be able to crack it. And thank you so much for choosing Sandeep sir and Top 1% as your mentor through your GMAT journey. Any last message for sir? You have, of course, he has a big
No,
congratulations message. He's supremely proud of you, and he's really humbled by this score. It validates what he's doing. But any message from you that you'd like to pass on?
yeah, no, like it's been a tremendous journey, and I think top 1%, as I mentioned, has helped me like to leaps and bounds. Particularly verbal from that 555 to getting to a 99 percentile, of course, speaks about the kind of contribution which top 1%. Particularly, I'll be very honest, verbal is something I improved because of top 1%, because I was missing out on that structure. So without that, I would not have scored that as well. So like a lot of it goes to top 1%, and I like to really thank you all for being there and being very supportive around it and being peaceful and being patient with my kind of. So thank you so much for that.
He's such a nice person. It feels so good to speak to you, and you have very good clarity of thought. And I think it would lead you such a long, long way. We'll keep connected. We'd be really happy to
Definitely.
see the kind of progression that you make in life. Wishing you all the very best, and thanking you so much for joining me today. Good
Thank
luck.
you so much, Natasha.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.